No one told me the right way to go about this, so I'll figure it out for myself. 'Cause how much is too much to give you? Well, I may never know, so I'll just give until there's nothing else. Yeah.
For the last 3 years, we've been a part of Special Touch and doing their worship. This year the team was Nathan and Molly, Joey, Ethan, Sean, Summer, and me, and we go down and spend time with the campers and basically do the worship in the evenings.
We get packed up, we go down there and we practice for the worship set, just like we would normally practice for a worship set. But when that room, fills with people, it's just a completely different experience. And we go, to this camp for people with mental and physical disabilities. But the whole purpose behind the camp is to find their abilities, and so they become individuals with abilities, and it changes your life when you see somebody with cerebral palsy spend 20 minutes typing out a word that they want to share, and maybe it's 2 sentences long, but they've because of the position that their body's in, they take that long to put their thoughts to words. And then after he gives his testimony, a blind woman asks to be led over to him so that she can pray over him. I mean, that just blows my picture of what the church is.
On the last night of the camp, it was a Thursday night, before the usual worship set, they had the Special Touch Ministries choir perform. And a woman who was one of the caregivers at the camp stood up and said, I was approached to do this Special Touch choir a couple of years ago. Little did I know that when I asked about interest in being part of the choir, we had among our guests the director himself. And she introduced a man who had a disability, and she said, Paul, here's your choir. And he stood up and he said, thank you very much, take a seat. And he had her sit down, and everyone laughed, and she sat down, and he made sure the sopranos and the altos and the tenors and the basses were all in their places, and got them all ready, and cued the music and introduced the songs. And the people in this choir, with all of their disabilities and all of their, what we would view, what I would think of would be a reason not to sing, got up and sang their hearts out. They sang, I am a friend of God. And I'm getting tears in my eyes right now just remembering it, because it was so powerful.
Every year, I guess it just catches me off guard a little bit, or I get surprised because I forget. I start to think that I'm going to that camp to help somebody, or I'm going to that camp to step down to, the least of these or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like I'm going there to do a favor for somebody, and every single time I go away feeling like the favor has been done for me, that my eyes have been opened, in a new way. I remember one of the nights we did the worship sets in the evenings, and one of the nights we played a song called Beautiful by Phil Wickham. And so during the song, we were all playing. It was a really neat worship time, and my eyes were closed, and a lot of the band members' eyes were closed, and I was really just thinking about Jesus and all that He's done for us, and just having a really special time. And it gets to the end of the song, and there's this refrain that says, I see your face, you're beautiful. And it repeats it over and over and over. And I remember as we got to that refrain at one point, I opened my eyes just to kind of look out, and as I opened my eyes and I saw all these people with, abnormalities, or people that we would consider not really worth all that much, you know what I mean? Just like that they don't have much for society. And I looked and saw their faces crying and singing and laughing, and some of them were even dancing. And as we sang the words and I opened my eyes, I realized that that I really was seeing his face. When Jesus said that you've done something for the least of these, you've done it for me, that became real in that moment. Like I could see God, I could see Christ in them.